But that's always my sticking point with, having intuition. It's like you can't quantify it all the time. So how do you know if what your intuition is right?
Yeah. Well, you don't. That's the thing about intuition. Um, and I think, and there have been times where from the outside looking in, if someone told me, if she thinks she got intuition, then I don't want it because my life looked like it was in shambles. And it was like, whoop, well, that didn't work. Like if I looked at my life in that moment, it didn't work. But I really felt like it was going to be the right thing. Now, again, I do not advise you to use your intuition until you've really done your work. Because what you think might be intuition might actually be cognitive distortions. It might be thinking
Confirmation bias.
and confirmation biases, all sorts of things. Like there's so many traumas that might be acting out. Well, I felt something that he was the right one for me, but it could be a trauma bond. There's so many things. And then unless you've done some of that clearing out and healing, I would advise you to really just do the work before you decide to tap into your intuition and say, I'm going to go with this. And people will still do whatever they want to do. But for me, I know I always had, there's a spirit, and the spirit speaks, and it's guided me throughout my life. And if I look back at my life, it was always there. And there was just like, nope. And I have a very stubborn spirit. It's just not gonna happen. Like you cannot make me do chemistry. I just won't do it. And so I might be seen as defiant. I might be seen as oppositional. I might be seen as lots of things, but it just won't do it. I'm trying to make it do it, but it's just not. So some people have they call it, it's a very spirited child, or they just have a very, they're very stubborn. This kind of child, they have a spirit that speaks. Spirit and their intuition or their spirit is just loud. And so you can't, that's one type of person. But for the most of us, I would say we need to really do our work, and then we need to take a chance. And the way intuition works is that at some point you're going to have to take a chance and take a risk and say, okay, well, I felt it. This is how it feels in my body. And there's so many different types of clairvoyance that you can have, or sort of abilities. Some people hear things, some people see things, some people just know, and it's just like a knowing, and it just shows up in front of them. It is not the psychic thing that I'm talking about. It really is intuition in all its ways. And for those people, I would say, yeah, it might look wrong, it might feel bad, but if that's where it's taking you, go with it. Because I can tell you, Luke, that I've made some decisions in my life where people were like, girl, that did not look right, and I'm not sure about your intuition. But if I look back, all of it made sense. Like it makes sense. Every wrong turn, every right turn, every left turn, every turn that I took, I did it with the one that I did with that voice and that sense, it led me here. And I learned something from it that I know I'm going to need in the future. So even the bad things, according to the world's books, actually were right. They were just right for me. And I think if you are going to be playing around with your intuition, you've got to have that stance that it was right. It just didn't look right, and it didn't feel right, like feel good. But it taught me